Nyambura, you're on mute. All right, the meeting is now live. You'll give me a few minutes to share the link. Once I see it here. Oh, my TV is making noise. It needs to be muted. The Terrace on Radul Live is live. Let me share. Let me share for Raima Jaka and Princess Nelly and Ochiweda. By the way, Mashari, you've dissed Ochiweda, man.
Why?
You've stopped calling him. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm an Ochiweda fan.
No, you see, most of the times he's always working.
When I leave you to get all the analysts, you get all women. I don't even know how Eddie is, but it's good. Eddie, I don't know what you've given to Masharia to get onto the show. I'm still sharing. By the way, if you've already tuned in, guys, go share the link so that people know that we're live. That's what I'm doing now before Masharia introduces everyone who's here. Let your friends know that we are live now. What are these 3 comments? If Masharia was not here, one of these 3 comments would be his. Raima Jaka, I told you, Raima Jaka present. Lucy Ndegwa, hello. Thomas Alwala, present. Who else is here? Agas Chemiat Motei, present. Hi, Carol. Hi, Agas. That name, we need to discuss it. Raima, let me do more listening. Okay, my dear. But yeah, this is the Terrace, and I'm a silent observer. So Masharia, over to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Terrace, another episode of the Terrace. Today, I'm very excited because of 2 things. Number 1, we have got so many ladies on set. We've got 3 ladies and 1 gentleman. And I also want to wish all the candidates of all the KCSE candidates, because we have a Kenya High alumni with us, and she can't keep calm.
So I can't keep calm. My school is top. I can't keep calm.
Exactly. So for me, for all the candidates of the mighty Nyandarua High School, I wish you all the best. And so to begin us off, I want us to have a quick introduction. And we begin with the ladies. We begin with Sasha.
Okay, so fiti sana Xavier, and first of all, I think it's an honor to be on this show today to discuss local football, but also apart from that, some European football. So nangoja tu kujibamba, banter kama kawaida.
Nyambura. How are you?
Fine. You?
I'm good. I'm better than yesterday. How is Samburu?
Samburu is good. A lot of rain.
I have a story with Nyambura. We first met on Facebook. We never met face to face. We first met on Facebook when? Almost 10 years ago.
2013.
2013. And you told me you want to be a referee.
Yes.
What happened?
I really wanted.
I referred you to Otieno at KPL.
Oh, yes. Actually, you helped me a lot. I went for the training, but unfortunately, now after the training, following up with the certificates, it was a hassle. And then I just gave up. I decided, you know what? I'm just going to be involved in football, but not refereeing now. So I just gave up.
You went for training as a referee and never got a certificate.
I even did the exams.
And they never gave you a certificate?
I didn't get one.
This is a joke. Just as well keep
Yeah, I didn't get one.
I'd call Oguda and make a lot of noise. But I'll call GMT and ask him because I've referred so many people to him, which means there are probably others who've gone through the same thing you've gone through. This is shame on Kenyan football.
Maybe.
So what are you doing now?
So I am a sports analyst. So sometimes I go to different stations. Maybe if there's an African Cup of Nations, I go for the analysis. But right now I just hustle here and there as I do sports. So it's something that I love. So anytime I'm called upon, I show up.
So you're
Wow, we have a star in the
you're a
house.
hustler like me, eh?
Are you a hustler?
I'm a hustler.
Ah,
Yes, Gladys.
Anyway, Eddie,
For those who didn't watch last week's show, you can introduce yourself.
Oh, hi guys, my name is Gladys Midecha. As my background can tell you, FC Leopards well represented, Manchester United well represented, passionate about sports, not just football. Sports, yeah, you know. And I'm happy to be here. Nataka kumaliza watu fulani leo, hata silent observers.
Ingwe. Ingwe just need a song. That's the problem with Ingwe. When you go for their games, they say AFC, 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 AFC.
We have songs. We have songs.
By the way, since you're AFC, let me just take this opportunity to say rest in peace to your former chairman, Alex Ole Magello.
Thank you.
He was actually my pal. Yeah, unfortunately, he left us. So may he rest in peace. Gladys, as your former chairman.
Thank you very much, Carol. I mean, it was a big blow. Ole Magello brought back FC Leopards from, Super League. So there's a lot that has to be said about him, a lot to be remembered. And I think as FC Leopards family, we're going to choose to celebrate his death and what he did for FC Leopards in a positive way.
Eddie, you have 30 seconds to introduce yourself. We've taken too long on introductions.
Sorry, it's fine. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Carol, for the opportunity here. My name is Eddie Captain, a big fan of Chelsea and a big fan of football. A local fan of Maya. Yeah, looking forward to enjoy.
Let me send some shout outs,
Yes.
Masharia, then I'll hand over to you so we can actually begin on the topics. A shout out and congratulations to Edwin Odipo. He says, hello, I've tuned in from Timbuktu, otherwise known as the US of A. They run a show, they call themselves the Kamtoyoyo Group. They run a show from the States on Kenyan football. Yesterday, they turned 1 year old. So Edwin, congratulations to you and Felix Makachia on your 1 year anniversary. And yeah, keep representing. Let's keep talking about Kenyan football. Sami T. Chege is present. Milka Wamboi tuned. Emmanuel Matano. Matano. This is the chairman of Ruara United from Nyeri. Ochiweda, London from Pennsylvania, otherwise known as Bondo. No, Ochiweda is my relative. We just haven't found the actual connection. Ronald Okoth, present, watching live from South Africa. Yeah, right. Even me, I'm in South Africa. You guys, are you giving us history lessons during this time? Boniface Onyango, Sharks not represented, Ajay Sasa. Hey, Nyambura here is Muredi, and she's Arsenal and Kariobangi Sharks. So Brian Garuia says, hi, Carol. Roy Sambu is watching. Ken Rogers, watching from Gatundu. Ken Rogers. Why does that sound so stereotypical? They call Ken Rogers and you're a Kikuyu from Gatundu. Sorry, I'm being stereotypical.
You know, Carol.
Country music. Masharia, over to you.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, I want us to begin on a Kenyan note. The league resumes on 14th of May, and then we have the testings tomorrow. And so, apart from the fact that all of you had missed watching the biggest club in Africa play, that is Bidco United. And I want to begin with you, Gladys. What excites you so much about this coming return in the Premier League?
I think the fact that for the first time in a very long time, Gor Mahia is not at the summit of the table. We're seeing a totally different league right now. It is actually very exciting. The likes of Tusker, Kariobangi Sharks, KCB, FC Leopards, Wazito doing very well for themselves. You know, it's going to be an absolutely interesting season. And I think this for them has come as a blessing in disguise. If we look at teams, especially from Nairobi, they didn't have enough time to train because of the lockdown and the measures that government had on us. So they're going to take this opportunity, of course, to keep training and make sure that they stay fit enough. I mean, the COVID, the second jab for, I think, most athletes is coming on the 25th. So it's only right that they do get this COVID tests done, because I mean, there's a lot of interactions. It's not like they're in a bubble or anything, unlike the players who are taking part in the national teams. But all in all, I think when you look at the league and how it is and what happened to Zuckerito, it's just so much drama unfolding, and it's very, very exciting. And I can assure you, if on Wednesday there was a match and Wazito was playing Gor Mahia, you can take this to the bank. Eddie and Carol Radul would be crying premium tears, because Wazito ingekandika Gor Mahia mbaya sana.
Napenda hizo.
Waambie ukweli.
I hosted the Wazito coach on Radul Live on Saturday, Francis Kimanzi. His target is actually to finish in the top 5. That's his target. But we were talking about how organized Wazito is, the technology they've brought in for training, of course, financial investment that doesn't hurt. And these are the big clubs like my Gor Mahia, which I'm a fan by birth. If they're not careful, you can't win the league with your big mouths forever, right? So Wazito, even though their target this season is a top 5 team to watch, clearly. Yeah, I'm supposed to be a silent observer.
Nyambura, what are you most excited about?
I'm excited about, as Gladys mentioned, that Gor Mahia might not be the champions or the league titles this time around, the title holder this time around, because we have seen teams like Tusker, like KCB, but I don't know what happened to KCB, because they started really, really well. But at some point, I think Gas Ilisha at some point. But I'm excited because we might have a new title winner. So I'm looking forward for teams like Wazito. Yes, they might not win it, but where they will be at this, by the end of this league, will actually show what they have in store, maybe next season or even the seasons to come, because they are very organized. They have the money, they have the best technical team. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm just excited about the good talent that we have right now in the league. As Gladys mentioned, even FC Leopards, they are playing really well. So I'm just looking forward to really different things apart from Gor Mahia winning the title.
Great. Sasha.
Okay, first of all, I'm just being honored because Wazito is heavy. That is one thing. Nyambura mentioned Wazito. Radul has mentioned Wazito. As mentioned Wazito. Kumaanisha wazee si ni wale wabaya, and definitely kama game ingekuwa on Wednesday, Gor Mahia kungekuwa na premium tiers. But also apart from that, talent definitely. Just take a look at Eric Kapaito. 2018, he had 16 goals, top scorer. But now this season, the guy has 14 goals from 15 games. So definitely, I'm just waiting for the day he's gonna break that record. And again, Madara United are sitting at the bottom of the table. My friend, yes, kutakuwaje? Because mafans wao wanalia bana, we can't go on relegation. Na ukiona vizuri sana, all teams are, kila team inajisukuma mbaya sana. Bidco United, newbies are really making other teams, just cry. So definitely, there's a lot I'm expecting as the season is about to start. And yeah, just good football, manze. Good football, that's all.
Thank you, Eddie. Now moving to you, I want to ask you something now. I want us to move to Europe kidogo, and looking at...
to update people on KPL, there was an FKF statement this evening that tomorrow KPL clubs have been asked to tell all their players to go contact the federation so that players can go and get tested for COVID. The league was supposed to resume on Wednesday. They've now pushed that to Friday, I guess, because they have to wait for the results to come out. So that's great news that, KPL is really back now. Yes, we move to, where are we moving?
I want us to move to London kidogo. So Eddie, I want to ask you something.
To my
I want to be honest with it. Do you think that the media sometimes normally piles pressure, and that's why some managers get fired. For example, Scott Parker, if he was not English, do you think he would still be the manager at Fulham?
Are you talking to Eddie who's
Eddie.
frozen?
Yeah, I'm hung.
Yeah.
He's frozen. Okay. Okay. Nyambura,
Yeah.
honest opinion. Do you think that if Scott Parker was not English, he would still be the manager at Fulham?
I don't think so.
Great. Sasha, do you think if he was not English, would still be the manager?
Honestly, I also don't think so, because the English media has always been very biased, mostly when, giving critiques about players. You see, if a player is not English, and then maybe there's just like a flop in even 2 games, we player manze ataona piece. But if an English player just scores 1 goal, maybe like 3 consecutive, if an English player scores in 3 consecutive games, my friend, utasikia ni kama huyo ameshabeba, ashakuwa top scorer. So I feel if Scott Parker was not English, angekuwa tayari ashatolewa. But then you look at it in terms of Fulham FC, they feel Scott Parker, led the squad, led the team to coming back into the top tier league. So definitely, maybe they're just trying to, show some kind of patience na huyo coach wao, because anyway, when they don't have world-class players, so even being at where they are right now, it's not much. It's not so much of that big deal. Yeah.
Gladys.
Yes.
When the season began, I don't think there was any pundit, any commentator who gave Man United a chance. And do you feel that now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is finishing second in the league, think that the media should at least swallow a humble pie and give this man credit for once?
First, if I can start on the Scott Parker issue before I get to Ole, I'd like to say, you have to remember that Scott Parker did play for Fulham. He gave them service when he was a player. He's given them service as a manager. He brought them back he did well when he was in the Super League with them. He of course has given his all from interim manager to now manager. He's going to be given a chance. You're going to ask me why? Because he's English. I wish we could protect our I wish I could protect Radul or Margaret or Nyambura the way those English guys protect each other. These guys just know how to protect themselves. When it comes to Ole, I think Ole, one thing we have to give credit to Manchester United is that they actually gave him time. They gave him time and space to do what he wants to do to get the squad he wants. We saw at Manchester United where players like Lukaku are leaving, and there are questions about whether Ole is going to make it as a good manager for Manchester United. Look at where he is right now. I have to agree, I was not his biggest fan. I'm still not his biggest fan just because I'm a Manchester United fan. The inconsistencies are one of the reasons why a lot of questions were being brought to him. You have to say Ole Gunnar actually has a squad, a very good squad that is doing a lot of service for him, in my opinion. Is he one of the best managers that Manchester United have had? I don't think so. I think he's one very lucky man. Look at the kind of players that he is surrounded with. We've just seen Edison Cavani pen a new deal. That means probably his man management is very good. Should they swallow the humble pie? Well, they should take hot chocolate with it too, because no one was expecting Manchester United to be where they are. I mean,
Well.
the hot chocolate can be on me.
My question is, has Manchester United Masharia, has Manchester United done well, or have other teams apart from City been so poor this season? That's the question, because number 2 is relative.
Carol,
the performance of the other so-called big teams, and don't put Arsenal there.
Definitely.
Okay, Carol, to answer you that, you see, when you talk about the big teams, I hope you're not talking about Arsenal, because last season Arsenal finished 9th. So they are where they were. They are where they are. They are where they were last season. So I can't see a dip there. Leicester City, they have improved. West Ham have improved. The only team that has dropped is only Liverpool, because last season Man United finished third actually, and Chelsea this season.
Even Spurs have been substandard.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Nyambura, what's your honest opinion of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
I mean, the man has tried. I think we should give credit where it's due. He has done well this time round. But what Carol is saying is actually true. So I think it's both because some teams have been so poor this season, and let me just say, some teams were poor this season, but Manu, yes, they are good. They are good this season. Ole has really, really tried, and having people like Cavani, he has come through for them in so many ways. So let me just say, Ole deserves the credit. Just finishing number 2 this season is a very, very, very good position for him.
Eddie, I want to ask you this. How come when other teams drop in form, it's not a question? Yeah, there's always a question. Everybody's asking questions that teams have dropped in form. But when Man United has dropped in form and other teams are doing well because Man United has dropped in form,
first of all, I think
actually give those teams credit.
Yeah, first of all, sorry for looks like my internet is a bit stable. I think the devil is knocking around. But yes, just to echo that, I think in terms of the teams, when teams like Man United are just down how they're expected to be, I think it's a brand that has already been built. If you look at teams like Real Madrid, look at teams like Liverpool, or other teams that are already champions somewhere, just ignoring Arsenal Kidogo. But yes, if that brand is there, you'll always know that when you're below the par, even the fans and even the players do not expect them to be there. So there's that pressure. If you look at how even Chelsea have built their team in the last years, if a team is just down, like you're losing or doing what, I think there's an element of a winning streak, and there's an element now of other teams. So I think there's pressure for Man United this season. Even the season started, there was a lot of investment. Man United have bought a lot of good players. They've bought Fernandes. They've bought a lot of good players. So there was that pressure for them to perform, of which Ole has tried a little bit, just not to make Margaret make beat a lot of drums. But he has been able to try, and that is what we can be able to say. At least the level they've been playing, like in terms of the formations, they've really got a good formation. The 4-4-2 diamond or the 4-2-3, it's working out for them. And even for them to be in Europa League final, in the FA Cup finals, maybe if they're not lost to Leicester. But yeah, it's a good team that is being built.
Great.
Let me read some comments on the same issue, Masharia. Just give me a second here. Matthew Automax. Automax, Niaje. Automax, why have you never been on this panel? He says, stop saying United have finished second when I still have all the hope of winning the championship. Which team does Automax support?
Manchester United. Manchester United.
And he still thinks you're going to, oh yeah, yes, I've seen him in his red Clowns jersey. Brian Garia, West Ham should be the team of the season. Nobert Naik, Nobert Niaje. Nobert is usually here doing Liverpool. He says, is Man United celebrating number 2 the way Arsenal used to celebrate number 4? Majabu. Hilda Chepto says we need to talk about West Ham. By the way, I've seen Hilda somewhere complaining why she's not on this panel. Hilda, if I'm not wrong, Masharia called you this morning. So you called Hilda today.
Yeah, I really wanted her to be here.
Masharia wanted to just be surrounded by women today. He's even regretting that Eddie's here. But Eddie, good to see you and good to have you. Princess Nelly, Ole is not lucky. He is the man for Manchester United. Okay, Ochiweda, Ole has tried. I've seen Ochiweda complaining somewhere that today it seems like the show is a Man United affair. Ochiweda, I was shocked as well. Masharia went and called all his people. Anyway, since they're women, I'll be nice. Bit of comments on the local topic. Michael Nyango says, Wazito sweeping Gore is a dream. So Wazito, can you stop dreaming about sweeping Gore? Muammar Gaddafi, Spurs since Victor Wanyama left, Swara Kila Saa. Felix Makachia. Hi, Felix. Congratulations, by the way, on your 1-year anniversary of your show. all teams have tried except Arsenal that has untried. Really? Really? These guys are just mean. Nellyman Jr. Traore's goal against United is a good example of underhyping non-English players. Dan Towet, watching in spirit from Old Trafford, but I'm physically in Kenya with an M. Who else can I read their topic before they break my head off? Vincent Kipchumba, GGMU. Hey, so many confused people today on the show, all saying they're Man United. Hilda, oh yeah, Hilda saying, I missed this one, and then she's crying. What a panel. Next time, shout out to the guys. Brian Garuya, Wazito will beat Gor Sirkal. By the way, that game will
Definitely.
It's supposed to be on Wednesday. It's on Friday now. Boniface Onyango, feels good to see Sasha Manze. Tuna miss ile show yetu ya Thursday pale Mad Good. You don't do it anymore. And Princess Nelly and Mosh Jr. is trying to say Radul out. After I wished you happy birthday on my timeline. I know you live in Kisii, And yeah, and Princess Nelly is defending me. Thank you. Moving on.
Now, Gladys, Leicester have United, Chelsea, and Spurs to play next. First of all, do you think they will win any of the remaining 3 fixtures? And do you think they might not finish the top 4?
There's a very high possibility they might not finish top 4. I mean, considering their recent form. Last week on Friday, they lost to Newcastle 4-2. It was an absolutely thrilling match. And I mean, Brendan Rodgers is a good manager, but again, inconsistencies at this stage is something you need to avoid. You need to try and get maximum points as much as possible. They play Manchester United tomorrow. I don't see how... I don't know how they're going to approach that game. I don't see what Brendan Rodgers is going to do, but Ole has his sights in beating Leicester City and hopefully getting points against Leicester City and Liverpool. It's going to be a very tough match to call. I think they're going to definitely beat Spurs. It's going to be, I have to call it, they're definitely going to beat Spurs. Manchester United, no. Manchester United lost a very easy, fast leg fixture. I couldn't understand. I know people are all about Rashford, but Maze sometimes won't play as a kujamisha sana. But anyway, it's going to be a tough match, not only for Leicester City, but also for Manchester United, because they need to make sure this is a test for endurance. I mean, you have to see how many players are going to be fit before they play the final of the Europa League. So it's going to be a very tough test for Ole Gunnar, and an even tougher test for Brendan Rodgers, because he has to get ready for a final against a very, very formidable Chelsea side. I have to give props to Thomas Tuchel and what he's done with Chelsea. I can't believe where they are at the table. I can't even believe the fact that they're in the final of the Champions League. So it's going to be a very big test for Brendan Rodgers and his boys.
Nyambura, do you fancy West Ham finishing the top 4 and Liverpool maybe? Or do you think that status quo will be maintained? That is the top 4, that is Chelsea, Leicester, United, and City are the ones that are going to finish the top
4? I think, first of all, the top 4 should have a trophy itself, because it's even more interesting than than even the top, the winner, the winner of the title itself. So West Ham have a really good game, but having that experience to fight for that top 4 is what I'm really worried about. But there are teams that have been very consistent this campaign. They have played good games, but teams like let's say Liverpool, they might sneak in right through the top 4. So it's going to be a challenging experience for them to go into the top 4, but I'm not writing them off. So I might fancy them going to top 4.
Sasha, whom do you want to finish the top 4?
Okay, definitely the 2 Manchesters. Hapo hakuna pingamizi, like Manchester City and then Manchester United. Yeah, I don't feel like Manchester United has a chance of winning the title this season, to be very honest, because we also have tough matches. If you look at it, we are playing Leicester, we have Liverpool, then we have Wolves. So I think number 2 is just where we might end by the end of the season, and then definitely I feel there's just somehow Liverpool might be able to sneak into top four, and Leicester City. Oh, I'm not very sure because last season the same thing happened to them. Just during the last lap of the league, they were able. I think they went to position 5. So it might happen to them again this season because they're not very consistent as the league goes to an end. So I feel Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, they're the best. You know, they have the best form right now, and then Liverpool might also be there. Yeah.
Hey, you people, can you stop giving Liverpool hope?
Eddie,
Yes.
Eddie, let me ask you.
Liverpool win their game in hand against Man United.
Yeah.
Which
No,
Liverpool?
In 5th.
Wake up, Radu, wake up. I keep
They
telling
might
you.
There is
win.
no way Liverpool is going to beat Man United, but
How?
never.
How?
Not this
They
season.
might.
No
David,
way.
first-
Who is? You don't
First
do
of all,
my.
thanks to Arsenal for making it a
Eddie.
top 4 race.
Eddie.
I mean, it was a top 3 race. Yes, Zavi.
Eddie, I wanted to bring you into this. One thing I've realized with the current squad of Man United players is that if you really want them to perform, ensure they are facing Man City. And so for me, one thing I'm sure is that as long as there's something they can do to stop Man City winning the game, I don't think there's any game you're going to lose until City are crowned champions. So in the event that you see, of course, United beat Liverpool, do you fancy them getting a chance to the top 4? Bearing in mind, I also don't think Leicester will win any other game until the end of the season.
Yes, I think that is, I mean, like beating Manchester United will already be one thing, like a step to Manchester United in terms of a top, of Liverpool in terms of a top 4. But I think what will then, at this point, I think for me, what I will fancy any top 4 team is just the character to have that resilience to play, to have the urge to play in a Champions League. And yes, Liverpool have had a team, as much as they have probably have a bad season after what happened miraculously last season. So I expect Liverpool to fancy their chances, especially leaning on what Leicester and Tottenham or West Ham would be doing, because we see Leicester have a little bit of away games, and West Ham also out of their form. I mean, they expected to win at Everton yesterday, but they weren't up to that par. So for me, I'll still fancy Liverpool, Leicester in terms of the two teams, but writing off West Ham, but also expecting the 2 Manchester teams and Chelsea in terms of top 4 finish. And just to repeat that, thanks to Arsenal for making it a top 4.
First of all, before we move on, I want to give a fact. When David Moyes signed for Man United in 2014, he said that he would ensure that he takes Man United to Europe. 7-8 years later, he ensured United get Europe by losing to Everton. Now, moving on, I really wanted us to talk about Arsenal, but I thought that
Comments before
so let us just talk about the teams that will not be relegated.
Yeah. Let me read some comments because there are topics that we've already covered. Then if we must, we'll talk about Europa. Let me see. Askofu wa Michezo, okay, me as local politics. All those local teams being punished by FIFA are the ones that refuse to sign the Star Times contract. Askofu is smelling something fishy about Nick and FKF. I was just surprised that FKF did not even try to appeal or whatever on behalf of Zoo. They were very quickly to say, Zoo, you're out, get out. You know, I would expect a federation to say, oh, I don't know whether there's a way there can be an appeal process or whatever it is. I know that Zoo as a club has appealed, but I also get the feeling that between Zoo, it was Zoo, Madhari, which are the teams? Ulinzi, which they can't touch because it's government. There was a fourth team.
God.
Yeah, who they decided to listen to the Secretary General and not the chairman. Yeah. Anyway, Mosh Jr. says Western Steamer beat both Wazito and Ingwe. Hey, so he's a Western Steamer supporter now.
Yeah. No, he is.
Ayero Chahilu, Edwin. This Chahilu is the, I think, is this Chahilu? Yeah, the owner of Soy FC in the NSL. He says Wazito are still light in terms of history, still a work in progress. Back at home, watch out for KCB.
Chahilu
does a very good job in it's two sides of LD in a club. Askofu, no, that one I've already read. Let me see. Mrs. Nelly is just heckling. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Get right here.
Good evening.
Ochiweda, I've mentioned that KPL clubs are going for COVID tests. Ochiweda is then campaigning that for appreciation, please give credit to our big fan who's recovering after an accident last week. Neshipai Enesindio, she had an accident. Okay. And Nashipai, I will send you airtime, 1,000 bob of airtime, because Ochiweda has nominated you. Mosh Jr. said, Apewe credit na boyfriend. I don't think she knows.
Yeah.
Men are trouble. Move on, Mashaya.
Now, I wanted us to discuss top teams like top 4, top 8, but since we have to discuss Arsenal, let us discuss the teams that are not going to be relegated this season. Now, Nyambura, last season when Arsenal finished 8th in the league, you won the FA Cup, and at least the FA Cup made you forget your season. This season, you've been in the Europa League, and being in the Europa League made you forget that you are actually 9th. Now, my question is, what is your assessment of Arsenal this season, and do you trust the process?
Which process? There was no process, Bana. I actually don't trust any process. And you know, when the league started and we actually thought we would be relegated, sorry to say. I know it's quite of an impossibility, but there are all the signs like we were just performing very poorly. And this season, Arsenal has been poor, to say the least. Arteta, I think it's time for Arteta to go. I think he's not up to the task of a team like Arsenal. Arsenal players like Aubameyang, it's like they lost interest this season. So I don't trust the process. We just need a new process and a new manager and new players. As in, Arsenal has just been poor. I don't even wear jersey right nowadays. Like I feel like going to another team.
Sylvia.
Yes.
You know what? I know I'm supposed to be a silent observer, but to me, I don't know how I feel about Arteta. I'm not sure, because the problem with Arsenal this season, we've had some great games, we've had some really poor games. And I have a feeling that the good games mislead us and we begin to believe we're actually good when we're not.
Yeah.
If you trust a process, it means you're not going to be good overnight. So Alex Ferguson, if I'm not wrong, took almost 6-7 years before he got his first goal for United. Nowadays, the way we play, 3 poor games and you want Arteta out. How long did the other day these guys were saying Ole out? Now we are saying how Ole deserves all the respect. We have no patience as fans. Yes, there have been some decisions Arteta has made. The other day, I think we started Nani on the bench, Auba on the bench. You know, we don't understand some of these things. But as we saw in the game was it last night or the day before? I don't forget Arsenal games. We saw that these kids are actually doing a better job than the players we want to see in the first 11. As fans, we always want to see certain players in the first 11. We don't know what they've been doing in training that week. A coach never listens to us. Kimanzi kept telling me on Saturday in our show that you fans, you're the biggest managers, but you don't know what the coach goes through with these players during training the week leading up to a game. There's another game we didn't, which game was this? About a month ago, where he didn't start Auba and then we ended up winning, you know, and all of a sudden he got Arteta in. So I don't know what I feel about Arteta, but I do think as fans, we are very, very impatient. We shouldn't be.
Carol.
Carol,
Alex, I think 88 or something. Another 1-2 seasons. Let's give him another 1-2 seasons. Start making noise. Maybe this season we're in nothing. We're not in Europe. We are nowhere, unless it's a miracle.
Carol, yeah, and I do agree with you on in terms of what our expectations as fans are. I blame managers like Ferguson and Wenger for giving us so many trophies and making sure that we're staying there in top 4, as in we are in that hallucination process that we are not understanding as fans that transition takes time. And it's going to be very difficult for Arsenal, just as it was for Manchester United. I mean, after 26 years is not a short time to stay in a team. 22 years is not a short time to stay in a team. And when that change comes, those shoes end up being too big for anyone else to fill. And I do agree with you, we just need to be more patient and see what he does.
This past weekend, there was that meme going around where we're saying we need to apologize to Wenger so he comes back. But even Wenger could not take us better than number 4. For me, that was not even good enough.
But surely.
That was not good enough.
Okay, Arsenal fans.
It was not good enough. Let me read some comments. There's some decent comments here from Edwin. Who's this? He says, Arsenal need new players, like 15 players. Maybe that's the solution. Change the players from some of the players who have, even the good ones, their attitude is poor. Hilda, Arteta out, Emirates out, Pepe out, and you two out. Oh no, Hilda is replying to Princess Nelly. I don't even know what's going on there. But Hilda, you're Liverpool, Nelly, you're Man United. Get out of this conversation. Kipruto Rono, the difference between Ole and Arteta is loud enough. Look at what Arsenal buy. People are buying Bruno Fernandes. Now Arsenal wanatafuta. Wait, he mentions a betting company, which I'm not going to mention. Come on. For me, I say, surely he's seeing these mistakes he's making, and surely let's give him at least one more season to rectify that mistake.
No.
Maria says the question should be, is Arteta good practically, which is a good point. Maybe he needed one more season under Pep before he came to me. I think you can still learn on the job. I, as a hardcore Arsenal fan, would give him one more season. We're already used to not being in Europe. Let's do it one more. You can't on the floor.
Yeah.
Xavier, I have a point.
Yes.
How do you explain a manager who Cavani was a free agent all along, and then they signed Willian?
Sorry?
How do you explain a manager who had Cavani was a free agent during summer, and then your team signs Willian? How do you get a manager?
Let me first just say this Arsenal fan.
Did you see William's free kick? He's just
Xavier.
not
we're very silent, Maze. Not even talk.
You can't compare him to Cavani.
Xavier, I feel Arsenal fans are just putting so much pressure on Arteta because kwani okay, shida ni hawajakuwa top 4 ama shida ni hawajabeba cup ama shida ni nini? I mean, wamezoea hizi mambo bana.
Unasema born to suffer. Mpaka amehang.
Even Chelsea finished, did you what did they finish?
Born to suffer.
I think they're even in page 2.
The pride of London, though.
You know, you have to hit rock bottom. Me, I'm ready for Arsenal to hit rock bottom.
Guys like Martinelli, Odegaard, you know, the young boys, he opts for them. Anacha Kina Aubameyang in for a reason, you know. Definitely, as Gladio and Radul have said, the process is very, you know, it's not like an event, a one-day event. It's going to take some good time. Like Manchester United, we're very patient with our coach. You know, right now, at least, we can talk about the Europa. We might be able to win this season against Villarreal. I mean, Unity Gani. But you see, for Arsenal, right now, they're giving their coach so much pressure. Arteta out. For what? Why they were?
And who will you bring?
My only worry now, whether we're going to retain, because we have some very good young players, the Sakas, the Smiths, all those guys. My problem is whether we can retain them, given the interest from other big clubs, And given the fact that we're not in Europe, that is going to be the big challenge for Arsenal.
Yes.
When the transfer window opens. Then if they go, then Arteta is finished.
Just be easy.
But I think he can build
First of all, Xavi,
the team around those youngsters.
Eddie, why are Arsenal fans surprised that they're finishing?
My take is they shouldn't be surprised really, but because of if you Google now, if Arsenal, if Wenger, Arteta is still an Arsenal coach, so it expresses like the dissatisfaction of the team. So for me, I think Arsenal of the recent, like in terms of last year and this year, they've really been change of how even the type of signing they're making. In terms of the players' mentality. Like I was watching an Arsenal game versus Villarreal. Even the urgency on the ball, you don't see that urgency. You see like they're just trying to build from behind. When they're down, they just need the goal, but they're already starting to build like the football itself is not really what Wenger should be playing. So I don't know whether the players are even sabotaging Arteta sort of, but I think Arsenal fans should expect more in terms of changes of either the investment to the team by the management, something, or
we need to get rid of those players with
even
the bad attitude.
the coach itself. But
to me, I
still expect.
We let Arteta one more season.
But Sylvia, hata wakifuta Arteta wataleta nani? Who else?
Now William.
Who will you bring?
Now Ukona William.
If we need those players to go, if you need those players to go, mtaleta nani na hamna hata pesa? Mko na madeni kuliko Kenya.
Kwanza Glado walispend kwa Pepe for the first time ever, I think. Na unajua atawapeleka kwa so wanaogopa na
hiyo ni Fuliza payment.
Fuliza.
If I change my mind in the next month and you see me posting Arteta out, don't be surprised.
Yes.
So Caro,
I don't know how I feel. But me,
Caro, do you have comments before we move on?
A chance.
I hear the Arsenal players didn't even quarantine even after the goalkeeper of Villarreal tested positive of COVID. Like, I couldn't get there. So it says something.
No, it's a joke, please. Wrong forum.
Okay.
Kipruto Rono here says, you Arsenal fans need to write a book on heading Big Kiswahili Kuvumilia. Wellyman Jr. at Chelsea Fika page 2. Not this season. This is like 2-3 seasons ago when they were going through like 3 managers a season. Walt Senior, most Arsenal fans who want Arteta out are after a quick fix solution and it's not going to help in the long term. Arteta is building something, you just have to be patient. Well, the same person who wanted Good Evening out. Look at what Good Evening is in the Champions League
Sure.
final. He might even win it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Princess Nelly and Raima Jaka are talking about how I'm going to block them. Okay, so I'm nicer than that. No, you guys, I want serious comments. Now you're just bantering and abusing Arsenal. What else have you discussed, Sharia? Have you done predictions for Champions League final? Villarreal?
No, that's what I want us to get. Because one thing Chelsea has taught us this season is that you can still be poor and get a wife. Because you don't have to be that you don't have to be that good to actually get there. Because I'm not beginning with you, Eddie. Do you feel that Chelsea have been that outstanding to be in the Champions League final? Is it that they have been very outstanding?
And I wouldn't say really outstanding as we probably expected when we started the Champions League. But one thing about Champions League is also having the thing of luck. So really in terms of the group and its quarters itself, I will say it worked out for us. Not facing Bayern, because you remember the other thing also facing Bayern, you either win Champions League or Bayern wins it. So for me, I will say Chelsea under Tuchel, as the progress that was being made really gave the team confidence. And that's why you'll see wins when you win Tuesday and you win a weekend, like it gives the team that mentality. And so that made Tuchel even still believe in that tactics. In terms of teams that were starting, the first team and the team from the sub, there was that connectivity and there was that like the team was really up to the par. So for me, as much as Chelsea in terms of the season started were really down, the mentality in terms of the change of Frank Lampard to Tuchel really shifted like you're rebuilding your house now. So there was that mentality of a winning mentality, which really then switched things to where we are. So really looking forward to next season, where teams have really built confidence in terms of players. People like Kai Havertz have built their confidence. We have Timo Werner also looking to have more banks in the goal. So for now, really good cheers to Tuchel for maintaining that mentality. You can see even after the matches, you go on there and hug your players. Like there's that mentality of a winning mentality. And if you see, there's also that people like Peter Cech are also back in that club. So for me, really looking forward to that team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gladys, thank you. Gladys, Tuchel has faced Pep now twice this season, and it seems that no manager is willing to change their style of play. Pep are still maintaining his style of play. Tuchel still maintaining his style of play, and the results have been the same. Do you expect anything to change in the final?
I do expect something to change in the final, because one thing people are forgetting is that when Thomas Tuchel took over Chelsea, he actually played very many different players in the first 5 games. He played different formations and he found something that is working for him, and he found something that is working for the kind of players that he has. I'm expecting it to be a very, very difficult final, although I did have questions about Manchester City and how much Pep loves to gamble. I mean, over the weekend, we saw Ake playing in the midfield, a position that really a lot of people are not familiar with him playing. So Pep loves to gamble, and he knew that even losing this game will not take anything away from him, except probably him taking it as a learning point. I have to give credit to Thomas Tuchel. No one thought he would bring Chelsea this far. I mean, Chelsea were in a very horrible position, even after the loss to West Brom. Everyone started talking, back to default settings, but that has not happened. He went ahead to beat Madrid. He's now in the final of the Champions League. This is going to be a very interesting Chelsea to watch in this Champions League final, and I will not be surprised if they win it. However, we have to remember that this is Pep we're talking about, man. This guy gets to a final, he knows how to win it. We have to remember, let's just give credit where it's due. At the end of the day, Tuchel was in 2 finals. He's in 2 finals with 2 different teams. Last season, it was PSG. This season, it's Chelsea. It says something about him and his character as a coach. So it's going to be very interesting. Hey, I don't know how. I think I'll have it better if City wins. I can take all their 14 fans, niweke kwa matatu moja and be there. But now, now watu wanduthi nitamalizana nao saa ngapi?
Man United fan wanting City to win. Well, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it has to come to Manchester.
One thing, she's giving an
Manchester
analysis, Masharia. Gladys is objective. One thing. That's the way we have the Arsenal fan. I don't want a London club to be. I don't think I'm predicting or whose dog is that?
Bosco.
Nasiba.
That's Bosco.
I don't even know that Bosco.
Whose is that?
Nasiba. Now, Sasha.
Yeah.
What do you make of this final? And I want to ask you, for example, if Arsenal, for example, had made it to the final, I feel that there would have been more hype around Man United, Arsenal in the Europa League than actually Chelsea City in the Champions League final.
Yeah, definitely. Basing the fact, Kwanza Arsenal have just been able to, outshine Manchester United with no doubt. Because I was so worried. Just saying, I don't want to see a Manchester United Arsenal Europa final, because sijui how to umetufanyia nini, sijui tu, like we beat Manchester City and then Arsenal just, a mid-table team, my friend, wanakuja na to embarrass. So yeah, definitely the Europa game would have had a lot of hype, basing the fact, just the fan base, Manchester United want for once to beat Arsenal. But now talking about Chelsea and Man City, I had thought Man City was the team to win this, but after watching the PL game between Man City and Chelsea, I feel we might be in for a rude shock because Thomas Tuchel, look at that game. He rested the likes of Mount. You know, both coaches had their plans. They rested the best. I think I would say like the last shot or maybe the last call, their best players, they rested them. And then like Pep, as Glado said, Pep really didn't care about losing that game. Maybe that is just, a mentality. It's like a plan. Fanya Chelsea watulie, and then when they go to the finals, next it away.
Pep was affected. Comes after a penalty.
Yeah, he was affected, yes.
Psychologically wanted that game.
Yeah, because of course, if he would have won that game, they would have won the PL already, mathematically, of course. And then the fact that he has had a very good run, here is Chelsea, the same thing they're going to face in the UCL finals. But then in the UCL finals, I expect any team to win. But I would wish Man City to win, Aki, for very many reasons. Hey, my fans were Chelsea. Hey, and this just happy. And then Man City win, please.
You said once. At least Gladys has predicted. You said you won. That's an abomination.
I just want City to win. I just want City to win.
Club to win.
Harry City. Hey, Chelsea apana tutapumua. Hey.
I think over the weekend, Manchester City really underestimated Chelsea. They thought it was a simple game. They won it in their heads before the game even started. That is why Aguero could play jokes with such an important goal, So, but having done that, and it's probably good that City lost that because I doubt they will even dare repeat it. Not the Champions League final. That is what they. Champions League final, they're not going to come with jokes. I think it's as well as Eddie's team is performing. I don't think they can have a chance against City because City will bring their best. I don't think there's any gambling in that final.
Nyambura, your prediction?
Eddie.
Just to comment on you, I don't know whether the two teams, I think in terms of how Pep and Tuchel approached the game, there was really nobody wanted to really show his full tactics. So I think there's still a match to expect. But as much as the compact Chelsea that beat Madrid still be there, so we are really confident, and I can assure you that.
I need to.
Your predictions?
Yeah, let me just read this statement. It's just for KPL. It's just come through now that they've actually postponed the matches that were supposed to be played on Wednesday, but they won't be played on the weekend. They'll be played at a much later date. So that is actually really juicy fixtures. Leopards versus Mathare United and Wazito versus Gor Mahia have both been postponed to a much later date. So the league should resume on Friday with the City Stars Wazito game. Wazito to play twice in 2 days.
Yeah, same to FC Leopards. Because we're playing on Saturday again against Zoya.
We have a game in hand.
So now the Wednesday games have been postponed until a later date to be advised.
Okay.
But, those who didn't know, the players have been told to go for COVID tests tomorrow. Those who have not had their first vaccination to get them so that the league can resume on Friday. Now there's 1 minute to lose. I need to see Kenya High School, top of the country.
The only thing that can give you pride because sababu hiyo kitu umevaa hata nashangaa
Arsenal is giving me no joy. Let my old school give me joy.
I agree.
Nyambura, your predictions for the Champions League final?
I think City is going to win it because Pep knows he's not going to gamble at any point. Because I think even the game against Chelsea, he might have played mind games. Like he didn't want to show what he's preparing for the finals. So I think City is going to win. Pep knows he wants it more than anyone else. So he's going to win it.
Great, guys. It's already 9. And I want to thank you for such a wonderful show.
To wrap the league. Pep wanted to wrap the league on Saturday. And what better game to wrap it than in a game like that against his Champions League rival?
But he had
Carol,
6 changes to the squad, Carol. He had
He gambles a lot.
Aguero
he
even had to
gambled
go
a lot.
and apologize.
Carol, let me tell you the
This
truth.
is
He
football.
gambles a lot.
Let me be honest.
Penalty hata
Let me be honest with
nipige
you
ende
guys.
Mesopotamia siwezi sema sorry. Football is hakuna siwezi sema sorry bwana. Nakauka tu. Ai, nakula ngumu bwana. Football ndio kuja wapige kama wanaona wanaweza. Hey.
There's an
Guys,
element of also.
50 chance.
Guys, I want to be honest with you. One thing that Chelsea possess is they are very physical and they are very athletic. If you look at the Man City's midfield, and I think that's why Ake played yesterday, their midfield is made of a 35-year-old Fernandinho and a very lazy this Spanish guy, Rodri. So I think for me, my thinking is that the physicality that Chelsea bring and the athleticism they bring, I think they're going to beat Man City 2-1 in the final.
Hard
For
small.
real? For real?
Hard small.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Hard small.
Okay.
So guys, let's finish. Let's wrap it up.
Masharia,
I want to finish by saying this.
Masharia,
Yeah.
since you're confident, you put money on the table. I'll put money on the table.
No problem.
City win.
It's 12:28.
Chelsea win.
I'm game.
Yes,
I'm game. I'm game.
You guys have had
Now,
your
guys-
weaknesses.
Yeah.
So we
So,
haven't signed
Guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for tuning in. But before I finish, there's something I want to say. Although all of you guys who come to my inbox telling me you need odds and things like that, I want to remind you that betting is gambling, and gambling has got nothing to do with your football knowledge. Gambling is all about luck. There's nothing like a fixed odd, analyzed odds, or something.
Yeah.
In betting, you are gambling, and it's all about luck. It's how lucky you are on that day, right?
it's not,
Thank you. So-
wait, Masharia, you're misleading people. It's not luck because it's partly luck, but it's also proper analysis and proper. You examine the teams that are going to play, their method of playing, but there are no odds, there are no shortcuts, there are no
There's
shortcuts.
yeah.
But
There are no-
you know by a team's form, you can predict by a team's form. But at the end of the day, you're right, it is a bit of luck,
Carol,
but you
No
see the game
wonder.
yourself. Huh?
Wewe unaona moshi huko, like La Liga this weekend, surely. What happened in La Liga this weekend? Ziliungua sana. No thank you.
Manchester kupigwa na Sheffield.
Hey,
So guys, thanks for coming.
ilichomeka.
Kina Juventus.
Guys, thanks for
But
coming.
those odds are nonsense. That one, Masharia, you're right. Those
Yeah.
do it yourself.
So guys, thanks for coming and thanks for the show. I really enjoyed it.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Xavier. Manchester United to
Thank
win
you.
Europa League. Hata kama umesema tusiongee juu ya Europa so that we don't hurt some people here like Nyambura and Carol, but we got you. Hugs always.
Champions of Europe. How many years?
I'm not hurt.
We'll enter Champions League through the back door. Twice in.
We are second.
Champions of Europe. Woohoo!
And you guys, it's been real. Thanks a lot. Masharia,
Thank
super host.
you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
You need to learn to tell me to shut up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, Nyambura. Thanks, Sasha. Gladys,
You're
as
welcome.
always. And everyone who watched.
Thank you.
Moshi Junior and Nelly, go continue your fight in your inboxes. It's been real. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.